Hey, this is Mr. Wartsky, and this is the fifth and final, thank gosh, screencast of plants. And we're going to start off with hormones. You saw this slide last time you were here, but we didn't talk about them. So there are a number of hormones that we're going to talk about that causes plants to behave the way they do. The first hormone, the main hormone, are auxins, which are also called indole acid, or IAA. And these things promote cell elongation. So how does that happen? Well, the hormone will activate hydrogen ion pumps, which pump hydrogen ions into the cellulose cell wall. This activates a pH-dependent enzyme called expansins. The expansins break down the cellulose crosslinks. Cell wall expands when water enters. The crosslinks reform and the cell becomes rigid again. So this is only activated on the dark side of the plant. On the light side of the plant, this hormone doesn't happen. So if you elongate the cells on the dark side, eventually the plant will start to point towards the light. Auxins also inhibit lateral growth. So and they're produced in the root tip, right? Because that's what causes the plants to grow to the light. So if you cut off the root tip, then all of a sudden you'll have this lateral growth, and that makes the plant become more bushy or more full. And that's why you prune plants, to remove the apical dominance. That's what it's called. Apical meristem produces the auxin dominance. So if you cut that apical meristem off, the auxins aren't produced, you'll have lateral growth. Auxins can also inhibit monocot growth, and that's why they were found as herbicides in weed and feed. So they use the monocots. They inhibit dicot growth, right? Dicot growth, yeah, not monocot growth. That should be dicot growth. They inhibit dicot growth. So the dicots are the weeds. They're found in the stuff you feed your lawn, and it kills all the weeds, and it makes your lawn nice and green. Unfortunately, they found it also causes lymphoma. So they don't use that anymore. They shouldn't. So this is what happens: is the auxins activates the hydrogen ion pump. Hydrogen ions move into the cell wall. The expansins will break down the cellulose cell wall, causes the cell wall to get bigger. Right, we get before and after, and then all of a sudden we have a larger cell. Gibberellins are found in the seed, and they increase cell growth because plants want to get as tall as they can, as fast as they can, to get to the sunlight, right? So they compete for light. They can also inhibit seed formation. So if you expose a plant to gibberellins or fruit to gibberellins, you get seedless fruits. Yep, it's not natural. Cytokinins are produced in the root, and they remove apical dominance. So if you take a look at a tree, you'll notice that they have a nice long stem of little lateral growth, and all of a sudden when a tree gets large enough, the cytokinins, or the roots, will be developed enough. They produce cytokinins that travels up the tree, removes the tree from lateral apical dominance, so then it forms these branches going out to the side. Abscisic acid controls leaf separation, and in times of drought, the abscisic acid can also close the stomas. So that decreases transpiration, which decreases water loss. So when a tree or plant is water stressed, abscisic acid will close the stomas, cut down on water loss. And ethylene gas is the gas of ripening fruit. You'll sniff a banana when it's ripening, and that is ethylene gas. That causes the fruit to ripen. So basically, it decays faster with the ethylene gas. Brassinosteroids are similar to cholesterol and estrogen. They can increase cell division and elongation. So if, a lot of things like yams or sweet potatoes have a lot of these estrogen lookalikes. Soy has estrogen lookalikes. They behave just like estrogen. So hormones produced by one tissue lands on receptors and causes the cell to respond. And the response is in a form of plant behavior. We have positive tropisms, which mean that they grow towards something, negative tropisms, which mean that they grow away from something. So, for example, if you have positive phototropisms, you grow towards the light, and that's caused by auxin. If you have negative geotropism, that means you grow away from the earth, or you grow away from the light, or grow towards the light, I'm sorry. Negative geotropism, grow away from the earth, towards the light. Now, gravitotropism is what tells you the roots to grow down. So we know what causes the stem to grow towards the light, what causes the roots to grow down. Now these statoliths, they are chloroplasts that are filled with starch, and they sink because of gravity, which redistributes calcium. Now auxins will move and because of this calcium redistribution and cause parts of the cell to lengthen. Let me show you right here. So gravity's pulling down, right? No problem. But when you're talking about here, the statoliths are concentrated here, which kicks the calcium up, and the auxins will cause this side to grow more, which will cause the root to grow down. Here are the statoliths here, right? Cause the calcium to be redistributed up here, which causes everything to grow down. Thigmotropisms, cells that don't touch something will lengthen. Cells that do touch something will not lengthen. In fact, if you fondle a plant, you can stunt its growth because of this. Now, some plants, when touched, will actually lose turgor pressure and wilt. These are called sensitive plants. Photoperiodism is a behavior which tells the plant when to flower. So some plants are day neutral, they flower at the appropriate conditions, it doesn't matter. Some plants are short day plants and will flower when it's less than 12 hours of sunlight. Some plants are long day plants and they need more than 12 hours of continuous light in order to flower. And how? Well, there are pigments called phytochromes, which measure far red light that is only shown or let off during sunrise and sunset. Some plants can defend against pathogens. They produce compounds called phytoalexins and PR proteins that are antimicrobial compounds, so they can prepare themselves for bacterial infection. Some produce salicylic acid, which is aspirin, which can reduce inflammation. And there are some plants that can release compounds into the air when they are attacked. They can land on other plants of the same species, and they can respond by producing proteins that can act as a defense. Now, Sitka willows that are found in Alaska can do this type of thing. They can actually communicate with each other. Now, we are done with plants. Now, if you have any questions, by all means, watch the video over again, review in your textbook or read your textbook, or ask me tomorrow in class. Have a great night.